The SCP Foundation contains over 6,000 documented anomalies. The vast majority are safe or Euclid. A smaller number are Keter, dangerous, difficult to contain, but still fundamentally being managed. And then there are these 13 anomalies that the Foundation has formally classified as impossible to contain. Not difficult, not risky, impossible. Each one a different kind of end. Today we cover all of them. The SCP Wiki defines Apollyon-class directly. Apollyon-class SCP objects are anomalies that cannot be contained, are expected to breach containment imminently, or some other similar scenario. Such anomalies are usually associated with world-ending threats or a K-class scenario of some kind, and require a massive effort from the Foundation to deal with. The name Apollyon comes from the Greek version of Abaddon, the destroyer, the angel of the bottomless pit, from the Book of Revelation. The most important thing to understand about Apollyon-class is what separates it from Keter. The SCP Wiki's own simplified guide states, if you can't put it in a box and it's about to end the world, it's probably Apollyon. Keter means we have a box. The thing keeps breaking out of it, or we don't fully understand it, but we have a box. Apollyon means there is no box, or the box has already failed, permanently. This is why Keter class contains things like SCP-682. Extremely dangerous, extremely difficult to manage, but the Foundation is still trying, still building better boxes. Apollyon is what happens when trying is no longer the right word for what the Foundation is doing. SCP-2317, A Door to Another World, the first major Apollyon SCP, written by Dr. Clef. In the 19th century, a secret society called the Society of the Golden Arrow discovered a gateway to another dimension. Behind the gateway was an entity described in Foundation documentation as capable of destroying the universe. The Society built chains, magical chains forged through ritual to keep the gateway sealed and the entity contained. The Foundation inherited these chains when it absorbed the Society's knowledge in the early 20th century. The Foundation maintains the chains through ritual. 7 personnel, 7 specific rituals, performed on a specific schedule. Here is what the Foundation knows that most of its personnel don't. The ritual stopped working in 1944. The chains are failing regardless of whether the ritual is performed. The ritual is performed anyway, not because it works, because stopping it would mean telling 5,000 Foundation personnel that the chains are failing and there is nothing anyone can do. The Apollyon class on SCP-2317 is the Foundation being honest, but only at the highest level. SCP-001, When Day Breaks, written by S.D. Locke. The highest rated SCP-001 proposal on the entire wiki. SCP-001 is the Sun. On a date listed in the file as a system error, the Sun began to change. Any living organism exposed to the visible light spectrum, 390 to 700 nanometers, begins to liquefy at the point of contact with that light. The effect spreads to encompass the entire organism. At no point does the organism die. What they become is designated SCP-001-A. SCP-001-A instances seek out other instances. When they make contact, they combine at a molecular level, forming collectives with no apparent maximum size. They can call out to survivors in familiar voices. 6.8 billion casualties within 24 hours of the event beginning. Moonlight has the same effect. The Foundation's containment procedures begin. Due to its nature, SCP-001 cannot be contained. Reach Site-19. Seal every aperture against light. Travel by air where possible. Site-19 is pursuing research into off-world colonization. SCP-682 survived the event unchanged. SCP-2399. A malfunctioning destroyer. There is a weapon inside Jupiter. Not orbiting Jupiter, inside Jupiter, in its lower atmosphere. A massive mechanical structure of extraterrestrial origin. It arrived in our solar system in 1665. Italian astronomer Giovanni Cassini watched it arrive. The Great Red Spot, the storm on Jupiter that has persisted for centuries, was caused by SCP-2399's weapons. SCP-2399 appears to have been damaged when it arrived, possibly from collision with one of Jupiter's moons. It is repairing itself. Octopoid repair drones patrol the surrounding moons in search of materials. Current estimated completion, 59%. Rate, 0.78% annually. Since 1971, SCP-2399 has received electromagnetic communications from the Triangulum Galaxy, 3 million light-years away. In 1996, a different order began transmitting. The Foundation established the Barrier Array, jamming satellites around Jupiter to prevent SCP-2399 from receiving the new order. The SCP-2399 file contains a memo from a Foundation senior researcher. The memo reads, "If this were to happen now, we would undoubtedly be destroyed. Jupiter has given us time. We are in an arms race with this thing. Protocol Legionnaire. The response plan for when SCP-2399 leaves Jupiter. SCP-3812. A voice behind me. This was once a man named Sam Howell. He died in 1996. He was 26 years old. Witnesses observed him rising from his grave shortly after his burial. He disappeared. SCP-3812 came to Foundation attention when its presence demolished an apartment building in Warsaw, Poland. Its appearance varies significantly due to its anomalous capabilities. It is currently located in coordinates over the South Pacific Ocean. The Foundation describes SCP-3812 as the most dangerous anomaly on Earth. SCP-3812 suffers from extreme paranoia, extreme dysphoria, and an advanced Eigenmann-Vitor schizophrenia complex. Its mental illness stems from what the Foundation calls overexposure to narrative. SCP-3812 exists in constant ascension through the layers of reality. It was designed to supersede everything that supersedes it. Its random outbursts are invariably fatal to any living creature nearby. The Foundation cannot contain it. SCP-3999. I am at the center of everything that happens to me. Written by Lord Stonefish. Considered by many to be the finest SCP article on the entire Wiki. SCP-3999 was an Apollyon-class anomaly tied to a specific Foundation researcher. Researcher James Talleyrand. The anomaly cannot be fully described. Every attempt to study SCP-3999 causes it to escalate. Every attempt to understand it makes it more dangerous. Every attempt to contain it accelerates its growth. The Foundation's entire operational philosophy, secure, contain, protect, makes SCP-3999 worse. The entry documents Researcher Talleyrand experiencing infinite loops, infinite deaths, infinite resets of reality, millions of years of suffering concentrated on one person. The resolution of SCP-3999 is not containment, it is sacrifice. SCP-3999 is now officially classified neutralized. It was Apollyon while it was active. The details are in the full entry at scpwiki.com. What the classification tells us, Apollyon-class can be personal. SCP-4005. The Holy and Heavenly City of Fabled China. Written by Tufto. SCP-4005 is an old glass lamp. When someone looks into it, they see a city. A dream city, magnificent. Real in a way that the viewer cannot explain. People who see it become obsessed with finding it. The Diaries of Omar ibn Rashid, one of the writers whose testimony the Foundation recovered, document his journey searching for the city. He never found it. Or perhaps he did. The Apollyon classification comes from what the Foundation eventually realized. Everyone who sees the lamp eventually leaves to find the city, without exception. Without returning. SCP-4005 is Apollyon not because it destroys, but because it calls. and everyone answers. SCP-4485, Such Blacklight, written by Dejacactus and Wodenas. The entry opens on a line attributed to the Dadaist artist and poet Jean Arp. SCP-4485 appears safe at first reading. It is not. What it contains and what it will eventually bring forth falls under Apollyon-class. Such Blacklight is one of the longest and most ambitious Apollyon SCPs ever written. The full entry at scpwiki.com is worth reading for the prose alone. SCP-5500, Death of the Authors, written by IHP. To understand SCP-5500, you need to understand its predecessor, Swan's 001 proposal. Swan's proposal argued that the authors of the SCP Foundation Wiki are SCP-001, the writers, the community, the people who type these entries into a wiki. SCP-5500 asks, what happens when those authors die? The answer is Apollyon-class. When the authors die, the world they created begins to fail. SCP-5500 is one of the most unusual Apollyon SCPs because the threat is not external, it is temporal. SCP-5956, There Isn't a Canon, written by placeholder MacD and Harry Blank. Its official object class is not Apollyon, it's something called Antithesis, a class invented for this SCP alone, denoting an anomaly that must be actively used, not contained. So why does it keep showing up on Apollyon lists? Because of what happens deep in the article. An alternate timeline within the story reclassifies its own version of SCP-5956 as SCP-001 and Apollyon-class. Harry Blank is considered one of the finest writers in the entire SCP community. SCP-5956 revolves around a time paradox, the REISNO canon, a device for synchronizing one's mind across 2 points in time. Used incorrectly, the Foundation's own models predict apocalyptic consequences. This is one entry where the classification itself is part of the mystery. SCP-6000, The Serpent, the Moose, and the Wanderer's Library. Written by Rounderhouse. This is the most unusual Apollyon SCP on the list. Most Apollyon SCPs are about horror, destruction, endings that feel like punishment. SCP-6000 is about the Wanderer's Library and a character named Tilda Moose. The writing alone, Rounderhouse's prose at its best, makes this one of the best things ever written in the SCP community. It is an Apollyon SCP that is somehow genuinely satisfying. SCP-6820, Termination Attempt. Written by placeholder MacD with Liren and Shujet. The Foundation has tried to kill SCP-682, the hard-to-destroy reptile, many times across decades. Conventional weapons, exotic weapons, anomalous means, other SCPs, every one of them has failed. SCP-6820 was the Foundation's answer. Build a weapon meant to erase SCP-682 from reality itself. It worked. The weapon succeeded in erasing its target, and then the weapon itself became corrupted by what it destroyed. That is why SCP-6820 was reclassified from Thaumiel, a tool the Foundation uses, to Apollyon. One of the most complex and in-depth articles on the entire SCP Wiki. Meta Ike's proposal, the solution, credited to Jack Ike. This is one of the few SCP-001 proposals on the Wiki that carries both Apollyon and Thaumiel classifications simultaneously. Thaumiel means the Foundation uses it. Apollyon means it cannot be contained. The solution is one of the most complex Apollyon SCPs on the list. The community recommends reading it at least twice, and checking the declassified discussion thread on Reddit to understand what is actually happening. Once understood, it is widely considered a work of genius. 13. Apollyon SCPs. 13 different ends. What does the Foundation actually do with them? The answer is not containment, the answer is delay. For SCP-2317, maintain the ritual that stopped working in 1944, because maintaining it preserves morale. For SCP-2399, the barrier array, jamming satellites that prevent the New Order from reaching the weapon. For SCP-3812, monitoring and evacuation when its mental state deteriorates. For SCP-001, when day breaks, build ships, get off the planet. Every delay protocol is different, because every Apollyon SCP is a different kind of end, but they share one thing. They buy time, not forever, not enough, but time. 13 anomalies. 13 classifications of Apollyon. Each one represents the Foundation admitting something. That this one is beyond us. That containment is not a goal here. Only management. Only delay. The Apollyon-class is the Foundation's honesty, made bureaucratic. Most institutions don't build classifications for their failures. The Foundation built one, named it after the destroyer from Revelation, and then kept working anyway. Safe, Euclid, Keter, and now Apollyon. 13 anomalies, 13 ways the world could end, and a Foundation that classified all of them, built delay protocols for all of them, and kept doing its job. All information in this video comes from scpwiki.com. The SCP Foundation is a collaborative fiction project. Every Apollyon entry is the work of individual authors who donated their writing to a Creative Commons project. The full entries are at scpwiki.com. They are free. They are worth reading. Next week on Shroudex Explain, subscribe so you don't miss it.